Telling you, you always had a queen by your side. You know I'm ready to ride. Sipping with the smoke on the side. Say what they want, what they like. Come on in, y'all. Ain't no confusion, baby. Come on in. Sipping with the smoke on the side. Come on in, share the video. I know we talking about the place. That a whole lot of people deal with and a whole lot of people struggle with. And we're gonna be blunt and we're gonna be open and we're gonna be honest about this conversation. Y'all come on in, Mary. Come on in, Toya and Sid, Avery, y'all come on in. Hey, come on in, y'all, share the video. Always respect, never control me. I'm gonna keep it rocking. Shut up, there you go. Y'all come on in, share the video. Make sure y'all heart and like the video over there on YouTube. Make sure y'all heart and like the video over here on Facebook. Because we need this video to make it on Facebook. Watch. Because everybody that's living with depression and that's suffering with depression, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna be open, we're gonna be honest. I'm gonna put this link in the comments. Okay, so I put the link in the comment. So towards like at the end of the show, if anybody wants to come on and ask questions, or if you guys want to be in the conversation, that's okay. I had 2 people that were on the flyer to drop out. We got a life coach coming. She'll be a little late because she'll be getting off work coming straight here. But two of the young ladies dropped out, which is fine. They aren't ready. One of them was one of the girls who hit me up because she was ready to commit suicide the day before I made this post. So she's not ready, and I'm not going to rush anybody, to talk about something as deep as depression and suicide. So today, of course, we have my cousin on here who works in mental health, and she deals with people that are depressed and dealing with all type of stuff that got something to do with their mental capacity. That's what she does for a living. And then we have the beautiful Miss Caitlin on here. I'm so glad she got on here because I've been watching her and I've been seeing the type of stuff that she's been going through for a while. And she's a very she's a brick. She's strong. She's a very strong woman. And so before we get this interview started, Caitlin, if you could introduce yourself and tell the people where you're from.
Hello, everybody. My name is Caitlin. A lot of y'all know me by Kate. I'm originally from Thomasville, but I live in Mobile right now. A lot of people know my mom, Miss Gaines. She was a kindergarten teacher at Thomasville Elementary School. Or Miss Smith is what y'all know her as.
Okay. Come on in, Constance. Introduce yourself again to the people, LaCosta.
Hello, viewers. My name is LaCosta. As Keandra just shared with you, I work in mental health. I've been doing this for a few years now. And again, I deal with a lot. I have done mental health counseling as well as substance abuse counseling. And now I'm working in education and giving that information to students for all grade levels.
Okay. So the first thing we want to start off with is with you, Kate. So me and you was going back and forth writing paragraphs and shit to each other in the inbox, and you told me you told me a few things that you were going through. And first of all, I want to say I'm so proud of you. because I know the type of stuff that you're going through and that you're still dealing with. And to be able to come on here already, not 6 months after, you've dealt with what you've been dealing with your mom and all that kind of stuff, I appreciate it. And thank you for coming on here, because a lot of people, I don't know what it is to lose a mom, or a parent, but a lot of people that watch me, they have. So we'll get the side of depression when it comes to dealing with grief. So if you could tell us a little bit about your story and like the type of stuff that you're dealing with.
I lost my mom here back in August due to COVID. She had underlying health issues. She had sarcoidosis, which is a lung disease, and we had been dealing with that since my junior year in high school. But she had kind of, that we had got under control and everything. But when COVID hit, she was really scared of it. And, I just kind of told her, like, don't go out of the house if you don't have to. And I was scared because I knew if she came in contact with it, that it would possibly take her out, or she would be suffering long term with it. And it did exactly what I knew it was going to do to her. It killed her. And dealing with that, it was just crazy how it all happened, because it was like when it first happened, I was just getting over a wreck. I was real depressed with that, because I'm the type of person who don't like asking people to do stuff for me. Right. Or whatnot. So me coming off a wreck, I was in the house maybe a month or whatnot from my wreck. I was down for a month, and it literally the same week that I got released from my doctor, my mom got diagnosed with COVID. It went from her being okay that entire week to Sunday that it just totally went left. So I'm like, you're okay the entire week. How the heck did you just go from being okay to being in the hospital on oxygen? And that's how bad COVID do you. So when that happened, I completely shut down, because I'm like, what's next? So it went from her being okay for a week, being on the oxygen and everything, and then it went to her being on a ventilator. So she didn't even tell me that she had COVID. She didn't want to tell me that she was going to get put on the vent, because she know how I am. I can be real dramatic. So she had my aunt to tell me. So I just completely shut down. When I shut down, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything. I completely shut down that entire time that she was on the vent. That very last week that she was on the vent, they called me in, and they're just like, we don't know if she's going to make it. And I'm like, what do you mean? At that time, I dropped what I was doing. I left work and completely dipped. She was in Mississippi at the time. Driving back and forth, not knowing the outcome, not knowing what was going to happen. That literally, I completely slipped back into depression while I was trying to pull myself out of depression from being down from my wreck for an entire month.
Right.
So me trying to beat depression on top of all of that from being in the wreck and everything, I was just totally distraught. I didn't know what to do, didn't know who to turn to. And I'm not really the type of person, I'll talk, but I won't talk, but I'll talk to certain people. I won't talk to everybody. Right. And a lot of times I try to get through stuff on my own. And now with, her passing and everything, I'm pulling myself back out of that depression. I'm the type of person that tries to be strong for everybody else but me. Mm-hmm. When she passed, I was trying to be strong for her sisters. I was trying to be strong for my cousins. I was trying to be strong for, my siblings that she had raised. I was just trying to be strong for everybody, but I wasn't being strong for me. I wasn't showing my emotions. I wasn't crying. I wasn't doing anything. So once I got over the funeral and everything like that, I slipped back into depression. Like I completely
and you know what? Down. And that's something that I hear a lot of people say, because I talk to everybody. So that's something that I hear a lot of people say. A lot of people, they say that, when somebody passes, and when they first pass, you have so many people around, so many people trying to comfort you, so many people around, giving their condolences and trying to make everything, okay. But then After the
It's
funeral.
that very moment after the funeral. People tell you, "Oh, I'm there if you need me. Call me if you need me. I'm there. I'm this. I'm that." And then that's the entire week that you're planning the funeral, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very moment the funeral and everything is over,
They gone.
where's everybody? Everybody who gave you those encouraging words are gone. You have a select few that will still be there. And you just like, okay, you told me I could call you if I needed you. When I call you, it's well, I gotta do this and I gotta do it. I need to talk.
Right.
I need to get this off of me. Because if I don't, then if I go and commit suicide or anything like that, you looking, well, why you didn't talk to me? Why she didn't talk to me? Why she
Right.
didn't listen? I tried. You didn't listen.
So
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
So with you saying that, right? It was this. I made this post about this young she was a stud. This young girl who was crying out for help, and as I went down her timeline, I was like, okay. So they're usually signs when somebody gonna commit suicide, right? They
Right.
usually have some kind of outcry, something changes, whether it's behavioral or what. So I went down the timeline. I was just looking at her timeline. I seen like all the stuff she was saying that you could tell she was thirsting, literally. She was literally thirsting for love. You know, it was always supposed to be, I need love, or if I had this type of love, then I would, I'll be this, I'll do that, I just need this. So she was like crying out for love and affection and attention, and she was hurting. And it just seems like when you look at her post, wasn't nobody commenting on the post and really like taking her serious about it. So, but when you look at the post, the last post she made, she was like, I'm out. I'm finna go. I'm done. Everybody is thousands of comments on that post. You know what I'm saying? It's thousands of comments on her post. But I was like, where was everybody when she was saying, I want somebody to love me? You know, when she was saying, I'm lonely, when she was saying, all of these things that let you know that she was going through something. And one thing that I can say about the Black community that I have found, because I'm in therapy myself, one thing I found about the Black community is we feel like if you go and you get therapy and you talk to somebody, that you telling the family business. You know what I'm saying? Don't be telling nobody my goddamn business.
Don't tell
You know,
nobody my business.
or they feel like you could pray about it. Go to God with it. Just keep praying about it. Well, goddamn it, sometimes God made y'all. He made you guys a tool for me to use, and so he can work through y'all for me. So don't keep on telling every time somebody come to you and they say that they suffering for something. All the time, the answer is not go to God or go to church or go get prayer. If I'm around here, I got a gun in my goddamn head. I don't want to hear you tell me go pray. You need to tell me what I need, what I can do in this moment to not blow my brains out. Because obviously, when you to that point, you done already call yourself and talk to God. You done talk to God before you decided to take your own life. You already done talk to God. So as you was going through all of the depression that you was going through, and when the phone calls stopped and everything got quiet, and when you found yourself slipping back into the depression. So when you say that you felt yourself going back into depression, what does that feel like? What does that look like?
I don't eat. I don't sleep. I don't like being around people. I'll sit down. I won't talk to anybody. I won't do anything. And then like some people that I want, sometimes you just need somebody to ask you, are you okay? How are you doing? Or you just need a hug, anything in that particular, anything in that moment that just can make you smile, anything. Because I know me, I completely shut down. I'm completely shut down. I won't talk to anybody. I lost my mom in August, and I have a sibling that I talk to like every day. I had completely shut down to the point where he stopped hearing from me. And it was to the point where he was having to call me or whatnot. And I would answer, but I wouldn't want to talk for real. And then like when I broke my ankle, I'm depressed all about that all over again because I'm back in the same state that I had to ask people to do stuff for me, or I'm depressed. I'm in the house. I'm looking at these walls. I can't call my mama because normally if I'm hurt or anything like that, I call my mama. My mama's there. She'll drop everything she's doing in Thomasville to come to Mobile. So then I'm depressed all over again because I don't have my mama. I have my
Right.
dad, but my dad, he's a truck driver, so he's constantly on the road. I have my
Right.
aunt, but she has to take care of her husband because he had COVID as well. And it did him real bad. So I've completely shut down at this point because I feel like I have no one. I have people, but I don't like asking people to do things for me.
Right.
So
So
I just
Lacosta,
completely shut down.
Lacosta, I'm gonna go to you. So when you hear somebody saying they come and they're dealing with death, they're grieving, how do you what do you say to somebody that say, look, um I I'm just at my wits end, my mama gone, I don't want to be here no more. Exactly what she's saying. I don't want to eat, I don't want to sleep, I don't want to be around nobody, I don't want to do nothing. What do you say to somebody who's dealing with that? Because that's definitely something that all of that definitely takes a toll on your mental state. What do you say?
First, I let clients know that they are not alone. But the good thing is they're actually sharing.
Mhm.
And some people don't realize that when you share this information, that's
Right.
like the first step.
That's therapeutic. That's therapeutic
That's the
to
first
share
step.
it.
You're letting someone know how you feel. And then a lot of times these clients they get completely bare with me. They get completely naked about the situation. And for those individuals, it get because they're letting it out so much, they're speaking so freely. Sometimes those people they actually kind of easy to work with because once they start sharing, that lets me know they want this help.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's the first step. The client has to want help. Now there are some people they're not very forthcoming. Some of them are in denial
Yes.
and they push you away, and sometimes even cuss you out. I don't need no MF and help. I'm fine. They just carries on. But for someone like Caitlin, she's sharing. And so she's serious
Mhm.
about her condition. And that's where it has come from first. And like she said, yes, eventually the phone calls will stop. The visitation will stop because everybody has gone on with life.
Right.
While they're in that moment, of course, everybody calling, everybody checking, bringing you something to eat, bringing you things that you might need, so on and so forth. But I let these people know, okay, first of all, you're not the only one suffering. But the good
Right.
news is you're doing something about it. And
Right.
when you mention prayer, yeah, you can pray, but I could have prayed day in and day out. That don't mean those degrees I got were gonna fall from the sky. There was
Right.
some work I had to do.
Right.
Right.
And
I
so,
just say without what is it? Prayer without work is dead. So you
right,
have to pray and you
you
have
have to
to
work.
work.
And
Mhm.
so, if prayer leads this person to help,
Mhm.
then okay. And then sometimes you have to be careful with the help you receive
Right.
because some people they will take advantage of their vulnerability.
Mhm.
Some people they're not genuine. And so for those people who do end up in counseling centers, that's the next step to get in front of a professional so you can be properly diagnosed. This
Right.
this book right here. Let me show you this book. You see this book? This is the DSM. Therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists. This is what they live by. You see how thick this is? I have the depressive disorders. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Depressive disorder. That's where depressive disorders begin. But look how much more book is left. You see how thick this book is?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the latest edition. The DSM-6 will probably be coming out soon. But anyway, this book is used to diagnose. There are different areas of depression. And so once you get in front of a clinician and share what your feelings, all of your symptoms and everything, that person uses this book to properly diagnose so that you can receive the proper treatment. And so you can be depressed, but what type of depression is it?
Right.
It is not just depression.
Right.
There's some things up under that umbrella. And so once you're properly diagnosed, you can be properly treated. You don't want to be treated for the wrong thing.
Right.
Because a lot of times with these diagnoses comes medications. You want the right medication. And so if you got the wrong diagnosis, then
Now you got the wrong medication.
right.
Okay, so look, let Jessica piggyback off of what you were saying, because you're more of the medical professional by the book. Jessica is more of the heart and soul. So Jessica, so as far as you dealing with somebody who is dealing with depression and comes to you to talk about a whatever their depression, whatever label or umbrella that it falls up under. What is, if Caitlin walked in your office, or if Caitlin decided to take a Zoom call with you, how do you approach a person that's dealing with grief? Because this is not the only grief that she's dealt with as far as death. She has literally dealt with death like back. This just was the latest death.
Yeah, I just say this is the latest. I've been dealing with death since 2014, and it hasn't just been somebody just a far off relative. It's been
Mhm.
close relatives
Yeah, like
or
a
close
baby
family
dad.
and friends.
Yeah, her
Right.
child. You know what I'm saying? She's been back to back, right? So how do you deal with somebody that come into your office that whose spirit is broken like that? So that
So,
breaks your spirit.
first of all, I want to say good evening to all of you beautiful ladies. I hope your day was great.
Hi.
For me, I like to speak to your spirit, meaning I want you to go to that place that you're hurting from. Let's talk about that. What I do know is when we think about depression and anxiety, from just my standpoint of just life coaching and the things that I've learned, a lot of the time it's because your body is reacting to what happened, but your body, and I just was talking about this today on my own page, how your body reacts to certain things. And sometimes you're trying to hold on to it, but your body's telling you it's time to let it go. And so, of course, losing a mom and a baby daddy and your child, that's something that's going to be with you forever. So for me, I would say, well, let's talk about the good times because we know it hurts. There's
Right.
and that's gonna that like the doctor said, with medication, those things are coming. But if you come to me, I don't want you to sit in it. I want you to tell me, well, what would your mom do on a random Tuesday that would make you smile? Because I want to put you in a place of peace. One thing we do know is we live to die. It's
Right.
inevitable. We don't necessarily always know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. But what can we do or what can we talk about to make you feel okay in that moment? Because sometimes, like she said, the only thing it may take is a hug, or I may remind you or say something that your mom would say or your child would say or whatever. It may be something in that moment, but I would probably spend my session. If you want to cry, then I'm going to give you that space. I'm going to let you do whatever it is that you need to do for that moment. But then I'm going to ask you, how did it make you feel? And so then let's talk about that feeling. You know, when I cry, because I know when I cry sometimes I feel a sense of relief. So then let's
Right.
talk
It's
about
like you letting
you
everything
letting it
out.
out. So
You
then let's
cleansing
talk
yourself.
about that space right there. Like after you got your tears out, then what did you feel? You
So
know,
let me ask you that, Caitlin. So once you had like um that good cry. So when you found out that your mom had passed and you had to deal with that in that moment, when did you eventually have that place where you just had that really not the shock, the cry that's from the shock or the cry that's from just missing her, but that soul stirring, that cleansing cry? When did you experience that moment?
Back in November when I broke my ankle. When I broke my ankle, it was just like something just came up, and I just started crying, because I was missing her so much. I was missing her presence. I was missing her being there, because I know she would have been there, and I know she
Right.
would have came at a drop of a dime, would have dropped
so it was
everything
like
just to
you
come be
broke
there
your
with me.
ankle, you're in the midst of a pandemic, you can't go
Right,
nowhere, and now I
right,
can't even pick up the phone to call my mama.
right, right.
Yeah.
And I
Let
just,
me
I,
ask you,
I just started crying, and I'm gonna tell you another thing that bothers me, and it bothers me with the Black community.
Go
We don't
ahead.
like to talk about it. We don't like to talk about it at all. We deal with it and suffer from it the most.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to acknowledge it. And I've learned and I've seen through my years of living that depression, like you said, it comes in all different stages. Like you have people who are angry and they lash out. That's their way of, I guess, getting that, they're showing their depression. And I have learned that. And it's so crazy that it took me this long to actually see that's
mm,
how some people act. They
Well, and
don't,
the thing
some
about it
people shut
is,
down, some people do anger, some people lash out, cuss people out. It's just all different types.
but if you're not taught how to handle your emotions,
that's
Right.
right.
it's not one of those things that come natural. You know, we've been taught to hold it in and
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
make it look
Right.
pretty when it's not pretty, and
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
fake it till we make it. That's what we are. That's especially women. That is what we
Especially
fueled.
women.
We are fueled
Right.
on that. So it's not crazy when you think about it. Because I say oftentimes in my own personal life, I wasn't taught
To
um
deal with it.
conflict resolution.
Right. I don't think most people are.
No. So it's kind of like you have to wait until you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of your own self to just say, I can't do this no more.
Right.
Right.
And it's almost like we make the older generation suffer, because as the generations continue, we are learning and we're evolving, and then we want them to evolve with us, but they found a
It's a
way to
wrap.
protect themselves as well. So
Right.
in our protections, we think to talk about it, where for them it may have meant to be quiet and don't tell nobody, but then don't get mad at us because we're trying to do it a different way.
Right.
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 Right, right.
Because as we can see, our older generations, that's why dementia and all those things, because they holding that stuff
They
in.
holding it in.
Can you imagine something that happened to you at 12 and you've never talked about it? You
And you
doggone right, I don't want to remember what happened to me 60 years ago. I
right.
don't want to remember that.
Right.
They find ways to bury,
Exactly.
and then sometimes as the years go by, it starts surfacing.
Yes.
It's one of those situations where something was swept under the rug,
Mm.
Hmm.
but now it's making its way, it's easing its way from under the rug, and now the next generation is asking questions,
Yeah.
Right.
and they're hard questions to the person who's being asked the question.
Exactly.
Sometimes they may give an answer, and sometimes they won't. They still won't talk about it. It's
Right.
like no one is addressing the elephant in the room. We see this elephant,
Yep.
Right.
so we just gonna look over it, around it, under it, pretend it's not there, and just go on with life. And so I ask questions,
I'm sure
Right.
nosy. I need to
Me
know.
too.
and you
I'm
know, people,
nosy.
I don't get invited to stuff because they know.
But you know what? Can we have this discussion since we just being honest?
Let's be honest. This is what this
Yes.
is. Honest discussion.
This is what I want to know, and I don't mean it when I ask this question. I don't mean it to be a certain type of way, but where is this idea that we have to have closure about everything? Because we'll sit and wallow and stress and
Wait
cry
for
to our grave because we're trying to get some type of understanding and closure. And
it. Right.
but why do we feel we have the audacity that we need it? Like,
Right.
look, if you're not being honest with me and I see the writing on the wall, I don't have to wait for you to validate my feelings.
Right.
They're
Because you
mine.
already know.
I already know.
Right.
And the fact that you are not even acknowledging what I'm saying further lets me know that it's the truth and I'm on the right road, but I don't have to sit in it. Why
Right.
are because then that's another depression and anxiety. And now you on all
Right.
these pills. Well, I'm gonna be all right as soon as he just say he did X, Y, and Z,
Right.
or if my dad say this was true, or if my mom say I'm sorry, but we'll sit there waiting on them when they're okay and they miss.
Yep.
Yep.
Let me ask you something, Kate. Have you had that moment where you wanted to just like end it? Where you was just like, if I just go ahead on the end it, I can be
If
with my
I
mom.
just go ahead and end it, I won't have to be in this pain. I won't have to be in this world. I won't have to deal with this. I won't have to deal with the pain of losing my child. I won't have to deal with the pain of losing my mom. Yeah.
And so when you're in those moments, what stops you from taking your life?
I think about how much it'll hurt my family, especially my dad. I'm my dad's baby girl, and me and him are super close.
Right.
And I think about my siblings and my close friends that I'm really close with, that I talk to on a daily basis. I think
Right.
about people that it would tremendously hurt to the point that they might decide to take their self out because I took myself out.
Right.
So I have to think about people like that. And then you have people that actually, not only my family or my friends, you have other people outside that admires my strength, but they don't know what I deal with behind closed doors.
So
Right.
let me offer you another thought. What about thinking about you? You named
Right.
everybody else around the sun, and I'm looking at you. First of all, I got 4 kids, and God knows I don't even know how you sitting up here on this screen because I can't even fathom in my mind not having my children. And the fact that you are still here and you're talking about it on this platform and you have a smile on your face, baby, that means so this is so much bigger than you. Like
I told you.
you went through it, but you went through it for somebody that's on this live right now that's probably struggling
Now, what am I
and
saying?
suffering from the same thing, but it's your strength. Like God implanted some on the inside of you.
And it's so crazy that you say that because I've been talking to my cousin since Monday. And I talked to one of my really close friends. Well, actually 2 of my close friends that are actually dealing with losing a relative. And I told her, I said, I don't know what God got, what calling he got on my life this week. I said, because I've been talking to people that's dealing with the same thing that I've dealt with already. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, but I've been talking to them and I said, I've been giving them the strength that I had.
I've been giving it off to them because I know what they're going through. I know they're going to need it to get through this. And it's I'm not gonna lie to anybody and tell them that it's easy. Losing a child is not easy. Losing their father isn't easy. Losing your mom is not easy. And I don't want anybody to tell anybody that, oh, it's gonna get better. It don't. It gets easier to deal with. It gets easier to cope with every day. It's never gonna get better. It's never going to get better. I don't want anybody to think that it's going to get better because it's not. I'm just going to be straight honest. It's not. But it becomes easier to deal with. Now, at this moment now, I was just thinking while I was driving, I have peace with losing my mom now because she's dealt with sarcoidosis for so long. She dealt with it from the time she was diagnosed my junior year in high school, and she dealt with it up until the time that she passed. I have peace knowing that my mom doesn't have to deal with that sarcoidosis anymore. She had to take steroid pills that was making her bloated. She was having to go through, she had gotten to the point where they had to do another procedure on her and they were going to put her on oxygen. I have comfort. I have peace knowing that my mother is on the other side because I know she loved the Lord. So I know that she's on the other side and I know she's okay. I know she's not in this wicked world dealing with all this craziness we're dealing with every day. So I'm okay with it now. And I'm the same way when it comes to my child. I lost my child. I was 4.5, 5 months. I had a stillborn. And
so that means you had to push the baby out.
Yes. I went through labor and delivery and everything. I was in the hospital maybe 3 days. I went through everything. Through the contraction pains, everything. And when right after it happened, I beat myself up so bad because I'm like, what did I do for me to lose my child? Like, what did I do wrong? Then my mom had to tell me, she was like, baby, it's okay. She said, you'll get the opportunity again. She said, but think about it. What did God take your baby for? What if that baby had some type of Down syndrome that you couldn't take care of? That you would have had to take care of that child until they were grown or till they left here or till you left here. That baby, he took that baby for a reason. And what he took that baby because you weren't ready to have that baby. It's a reason for everything. And I had to understand that it was a reason for that because I beat myself up so long trying to figure out what did I do because I didn't know. I just up one morning, I started losing fluid and that was it. I'm like, what the heck did I do? Like, what did I do wrong? So I beat myself up so long until she told me and I had to think about it. I was like, you know what? She right. What if that was something I couldn't take care of? And then I thought about it, what if I would have went full term and then the baby came into the world and they still had a Down syndrome and they still end up passing. That's something else that would have took a toll on me again. Mm-hmm. So I had to think about all of that. And look at you now. Now you have the tools to be a mom that you probably wouldn't have been able to be, but life has definitely put you on a path. So when you do become a mom, there are going to be some things that you're going to recognize in your child and some things that you're going to do differently that you may not have done then,
when you were younger.
Because I had 2 children by the time I was 20, and Lord knows I haven't always gotten it right. But one of the things that I was able to always remind them that you got to make yourself happy. Like mama may not always get it right, but when you look in that mirror, you got to look at yourself. So don't do nothing because you're trying to please mama. You do everything to make sure you are honoring yourself, and that's going to make me happy. Right. That you're living your own truth. I didn't get a lot of things right, but when I look at my children and they can stand in their own and look in themselves in the mirror and be happy with the person that's looking back at them, that's a win for me. Above anything, there is nothing else that I can teach them in my mind because you see you. I didn't necessarily see me until after I had them and
Right.
went through some stuff and tried to commit suicide and
Mhm.
lost everything and lost my house and my car was repossessed. I was evicted out of my apartment. I'm living from couch to couch with 2 kids and no money and trying to figure it out. But I had to go through all of that to get to where I am today.
Right.
Whereas now my kids don't have to go through it unless they want to, because they have the tools to use to be better for themselves. So I commend you and I applaud you for still going on even after everything that you've been through, because you have gone through enough to take
Right.
you out, but yet you still choose to fight for yourself. So I commend you, sister.
Thank you.
So,
It's definitely been hard. It's been a journey, but I know I have a great support system, and I know I had a praying mother. I still have a praying mother because I know she's watching over me, and because of her, I'm continuing this journey.
Yeah.
and you know what? A good support system is so important when you dealing with any type of depression or trauma, because I know I was personally dealt with depression for over 10 years, and I did not come out of that depression. I was depressed from probably like 25 to 35. I know for like 10 years, I stayed in my room for 10 years. Don't nobody know that. Don't nobody know that the only time I came out of my house, I didn't come out of my house unless I had to go take my kids to the doctor. And I ain't even taking to the doctor that much because their dad took them. So unless I had to take my children to the doctor, unless I had to go to the grocery store, they got to a point where I didn't even grocery shop no more because their dad grocery shop. I ain't do it. And I just did the shit that I had to do that was necessary to come out of my house. If I had to sing or perform, I perform, and then I'd come back home and I would straight to my room. I stayed in my room in the dark for over 10 years, just depressed as hell. And I didn't even realize that I was depressed. So many people are living in depression and living with anxiety and living with all of this stuff. You know, we just think that they're just, okay, this is how I'm handling it. This is how I'm doing. Okay, I'm just coming to do what I have to do. It's not normal for 24 hours of the day and you in the room for 22 hours. That's not normal. You know, I was going through with stuff with my mom. I was dealing with going through just being a young mother, having 3 kids by 25. You know, I never had the relief that a lot of my classmates or associates or friends had. I never had the luxury of going to just drop my kids off somewhere and be a teenager, you know what I'm saying? Or be a young lady and go do this. I never had that, right? So that put me in a depression. And I also learned another reason why I was depressed. And a lot of people need to really pay some attention because you don't even realize that this shit is happening until it happens. When you take your ass online and you're going on social media, if you feel like I am 35, this person is 35. Look what they got. Look what they're doing. Look how they're traveling. Look how they're moving. Look how they're progressing in life. And why the hell? And I'm stuck. I ain't doing none of this shit. I ain't like, I feel like I'm late and I'm stuck behind and I'm late to the party. But that's not true. You can't look at people on social media and look at what it is that they're doing and feel like you're behind in your own life. Because first of all, a lot of that shit is fake and it's just for social media. It's an image and that's all it is. Second of all, I had to learn that I couldn't find my happiness. I had to learn that I couldn't find my happiness in my husband because he was fucking up. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't find my happiness in him. I had to learn I couldn't find it in needing validation about my career choices from my parents or my family. I had to just really just find myself, and I really had to go on a journey of self-love because I couldn't love myself. I wasn't going and making sure I was taking care of myself. I wasn't pampering myself. Everything was about what my children needed and what my husband needed. And in the process, I lost who the fuck I was. I stopped singing for like 6 years straight. I wouldn't even sing with the radio. You couldn't pay me to sing. I didn't want to sing. I ain't have no passion to sing. I sing for what? I ain't happy. I can't sing what you want me to sing about. I'm stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't. Like I literally was so depressed that I literally lost my voice. Like I lost my voice, I lost my fight, I lost every fucking thing. And all I wanted to do was be in a room, don't nobody talk to me, don't nobody say nothing to me, which is some of the reason why I feel like even my husband even cheated, and I'm not putting this shit on myself. But I know as a woman, I ain't want to deal with him like that all the time. I was depressed. I don't feel like fucking and I'm depressed. You want some? I used to look at him and say, I've been in this room all day. You think I want to fuck? Ain't nothing happened in my life today that making me horny, bro. I don't want to fuck. You know what I'm saying? And pushing him away. I'm talking about like for like weeks and days. Like I'm one of the people. If I'm depressed, I don't want to fuck. I don't want to do no happy shit. You know what I'm saying? And
that's what depression is.
Huh?
That's what depression is.
What?
Right.
You don't want to do no happy shit.
I ain't want to do no happy shit. I ain't want to do no happy shit. Like I literally didn't want to do no happy shit. And you know what really helped me come from my depression? When my husband cheated. When he cheated, I found my self-worth. When he cheated, the blindness was took. I realized, okay, I don't need this man. I ain't depend on him for my happiness. Why am I looking to him for my happiness and he do shit to make me sad? You know what I'm saying? I got to find what makes me happy. And I also had to learn to quit focusing on everything that made me feel like shit. And I had to start focusing on stuff that made me happy. Because if all I focused on was everything that was going bad, it just kept me in a bad space. Mm-hmm. You know? So I had to learn, like I'm still in counseling 2:00 on Fridays. You know, because just to keep myself, and because the fact that I take on a whole lot of other people's stuff doing what it is that I do, right? So if I'm taking on everybody else shit at the end of the week, I need somebody to go dump all this shit on. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody to go dump it on so I can empty myself. So through the week when people start messaging me and saying, Keandra, I was going to kill myself, or Keandra, this, I can take it. You know what I'm saying? And I can hold it. And then I go to therapy, and I say, woo, child, let me tell you what the fuck been going on. Because this is how I talk to my therapist. Let me tell you what the fuck been going on. Because there's been a lot of shit been going on. And I got some shit I got to lay at your feet like you Jesus. You ready? Because I got a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of shit to say. My people been going through a whole lot of shit. Like when my people get COVID or die, that shit throws me I don't want to cry. When my people that follow me, when they get sick and they die on me, you know what I'm saying? That fucks with me. Yeah. You know, because when you're used to seeing somebody come on your live every day, right? So you're used to calling a certain name every day. I just had to hit up Coco the other day. I said, Coco, where you been? Because I know she had COVID and she was still dealing with the side effects of COVID. Even after she had got cured, she was still dealing with like her lungs and not being able to breathe. So I ain't feel. So I'm like, I'm just, checking in, trying to see, why I ain't seen you on the damn live. Because my thought come to is they sick. So that depresses me. You know what I'm saying? When my people start dying on me on here, because they become like family. Sometimes you meet people on the internet. These people out on the internet so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all my family, right? And so if my family passed, or if my family hurt, or if my family, it affects me. I call Constance. She be like, you just really love these people. I done broke down a couple times on the phone with Constance. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I just love my people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hurts me when I come on here and I don't see them. And then somebody hit me, but when the fuck she died? You know what I'm saying? So, that throws me into a depression. So with dealing with depression, Caitlin, and with dealing with the passing of your mom and dealing with so much death, how do you plan? Because I feel like you're here for a reason, because you've been doing so much shit. Because I was just reading your shit today, and I was just like, I don't know how she's still here, but she's here. How do you plan? Do you have any plans? Because I think you should. Any plans of being like a sounding board or being like somebody that could speak out about grief and death? And
most definitely, I can see myself doing that here in the near future. being that person to speak out to people who have gone through what I'm going through, or they're going through what I'm going through, because I know it's hard. And I know when the phone calls and everything, when it stops, it's just you. Nobody else is there. And you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to. You feel like nobody else is there. You feel like you in this alone. And I don't want anybody to feel the way I feel. So if I can give them what I didn't have or what I thought I didn't have, I most definitely will be there for somebody else. And that's why when my friends, when they called me this week, I stopped what I was doing to talk to them, because I knew they needed to talk. Just like my friend, she hadn't even called me, but something said, hit her up. And I hit her up and I was like, well, I was just giving you a call. I'm just checking on you. I know that you're going through whatever. And she was like, you must knew I was having a bad day, or I was just crying. I was like, something just told me to call you. I said, and I'm just giving you what I didn't have. And I'm telling you, look, I understand you want to be strong for your mom, for your kids and everybody else, but you got to be strong for you.
Right.
You got to be strong for you, because if you're not strong for you, you gonna take yourself down through that. And that's what I did to myself. I was trying to make sure everybody else was okay, but I never stopped to Kate.
And it was your mama, the one who passed.
Right. All right, Kate, are you okay? Have you dealt with this? Have you cried? You got other people crying and you trying to console them, but what about them consoling you?
Right.
What about them being that shoulder for you to cry on? You being the shoulder for them to cry on, and this your mama. But I told her, I'm like, look, you got to be strong for you. You got to have your moments. You got to allow yourself to have those moments, because I had gotten to the point where I didn't want to have my moments, or I felt like if I had my moments, people were gonna, well, oh, you need to get over it. You need to, because I've had people tell me, you got to push through. Wow. No, fuck, I don't. I ain't got to push through shit. You ain't lose your mama. You don't know what I'm going through. I'm not doing it. You can't tell me I got to push through. You don't know what I'm going through. My mama was my best friend. I talked to this lady every day. If I did not talk to her on the phone, I talked to her to text message. So you can't tell me I got to push through. I ain't doing it. But I'm going to push through.
Very insensitive.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something. What are some things that are not appropriate to say when a person is there? And we're gonna have like a whole series of depression. It's somebody gonna be on the next week, and a week after that, and a week after that, and a week after that, because it's a lot of people that just want to just get it off, right? So what do you say to a person when they dealing with, what's the proper thing to say? Because the improper thing to say is to get over it, or we say like the cliche shit, yeah. How do you? Because a lot of people don't know. How do you approach a person that is in grief and dealing with grief when you haven't experienced it yourself? What do you say? What is the proper way to handle that?
I think it's important to be both sympathetic and empathetic, because if you haven't gone through it, like my parents are still very much alive.
Right.
And so I can only
empathize.
But I'm not walking that path yet. And so for a person who is such as Caitlin, you can pray for those people, but at the same time, if this is someone that you genuinely care about, don't just say, I'm here. You actually be there. You have to be present, whether it's physically present or when they call, you answer. If you happen to miss that call, you return that call, because you told this person that you were there. So be there, be present. And sometimes, they may reach out at all hours of the night, but you said you were there.
Answer that phone.
You say, I'm going to be here. No, you say, I'm here.
Right.
That means we're in the present. So
Exactly.
you be present and listen as much as you can, but you never tell this person push through it. No,
Right.
you don't, and get over it. Those are fighting words because this is not something you get over.
Right.
Eventually, you move on, but
Right.
moving on and getting over it, that's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same.
You move on because life keeps going.
Right.
Life keeps going. And so at some point, you pick yourself up, but when you're ready,
Right.
some people get out there before they ready. And so when you get out there, after you have reached that point to where, okay, I'm ready. But then if you step out there and then you realize, okay, I wasn't as ready as I thought. It's a process,
Right.
basically. It's not something that's done expeditiously.
Right.
It takes time. I mean, a lot of us, you know, a lot of us, especially if there's longevity in your family and people live past 80 and 90 and then they pass away versus your mom being in her 60s
Right.
or her 50s. And so sometimes, even though some people they don't look at age, sometimes that plays a role. If your mama 90 and she passed away, she was 90.
She
Right.
lives her
People
life.
even struggle with that.
Right.
And they
A lot
struggle.
of people.
They struggle with the presence. I think people struggle with the presence when they get old. You struggle with the presence of them not being here
Not being there
Right.
because they've been here 90
because it's
some
been up so
years and
long.
now they're gone.
Right.
And so you pray for peace. You try to make peace with the situation, but even that's when you're ready.
Right.
Right.
It's something you don't rush to because a lot of times you rush into it and then you end up just
Fucked
a
up.
downward spiral
You end
and
up
you don't
messed
even
up.
realize
Right.
everybody looking at you like, oh my goodness, what is she doing? Is
What's
she
wrong?
even? And sometimes you don't even be aware.
You're not aware that you're even doing anything. Like I know for a fact that when my mom first passed, I was mean. I was so hateful. I didn't even
You
Hurt.
were
Hurt.
grieving.
Yeah. You was
You
hurting.
were grieving and you were hurt. And that was your outlet,
Right.
your anger. That was your way of coping. You
Right.
were
right.
angry. And you probably weren't angry with nobody around you. You were probably
But
angry
God.
with God.
Mm-hmm.
God and came here and took my mama, and I wasn't even ready for this.
And he
I
know
had
what all
no preparation.
Mm-hmm.
I still need her.
Right.
Right.
There's a lot of things that we haven't done, a lot of things she hasn't taught me. We were supposed to do that pound cake together. I hadn't got that pound cake down pat yet, and now she's not here to help me with that. And so you pissed.
Absolutely.
Or walking out, or having her, having a baby again. All of that stuff that
Right.
Right.
you
I
deal with.
felt like I was robbed of all of it. I think about that all the time because I feel like I'm robbed of it. Like she'll never see me have another child. She'll never see me walk down the aisle. She'll never see me buy this, just nothing. Like she'll never see me do any of the big things that you would want your mother to be there for
Right.
you.
Right.
She's never going to see like she see it from heaven, but she's not here physically enjoying these moments with me.
Where you can take pictures of her with her grandbabies, and
Right.
she ain't your wedding photo. I can understand.
And see, some people move too fast. They just pick up with life and go on with life when they're really not ready. And then the stuff that they doing, and sometimes they end up in a residential setting.
Right.
And so for people who have those types of breakdowns, their grief, they don't want to deal with the grief. They don't want to deal with the hurt,
Mm-mm.
the anger. They don't want to deal with none of it. So they just bury this person today and they go back to work tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So
No,
look, what do you what do you say about people who tries to just skip over, basically kind of trying to just not feel anything and be numb to the situation and just go on and on and on? What do you say to a person like that? Because eventually everything gonna come to a head. Eventually, all that you've been holding in and not trying to grieve and not trying to feel, eventually you're gonna feel it. So how do you? Okay, this is a good question, Constance. I'm glad you asked this question, Constance. How do you feel about people who cope through by numbing out? Because she's a person that numbs out to hurt, right? To any kind of hurt or grief or disappointment, she has learned to cope by numbing out and shutting out. And then she end up more depressed because once you shut everybody out, you end up being alone. So how do you? What is the proper way? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not a certain like book you can read to tell you how to deal with grief, because we're gonna all deal with it how we deal with it. But what are some tools to use?
I encourage my clients to face it head on, period. I'm not going to lie to them and say that it's easy. I'm not going to lie and say that you'll be past it in no time. Those are lies.
Right.
Numbing is one of the worst ways, probably the absolute worst way to cope. Because as soon as that numbing, as soon as that numbness, you start feeling again, there's your issue. So in order for you to not cope, you have to stay numb. But
Mm-hmm.
at some point, the feeling is gonna come back. So that issue is gonna be right there. So if you want to get this issue out your face, you need to deal with it.
Right.
And that's
Right.
in any type of situation, whether you're dealing with a loss, a death, or if you're dealing with some type of abuse from your past or something that's current, some current abuse that you're dealing with and you're suffering in silence. No, you have to face these things head on. It's hard, but it is necessary.
For your own healing.
Right.
Right. And you need to heal from within.
Mm-hmm.
You need emotional healing. Emotional pain is far worse than physical pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start healing from the inside, the only way you're going to do that is face these problems head on. And so they're not going anywhere.
Right.
They're not going to go anywhere until you deal with it. And so if this thing happened when you was 25, but here it is now, you 55, and you've been numbing for 30 years. If you don't deal with it, you're going to numb with it. It's going to be there for the rest of your life.
Or 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 it's gonna cause dis-ease in your body. It'll show up in a sickness.
Right.
Right.
That is true.
It'll
And
show up
then when you do make up your mind to deal with it, that illness that it caused, that sickness that it caused, and then if it
It
did
may
some
be too late.
deteriorating to your organs, it's not going to erase that deterioration.
No.
Once that damage is done to your organ, that's pretty much it.
It's
That's
done.
a wrap. And
Right.
so, like I just stated, it's difficult. It's extremely difficult, but
right.
it's extremely necessary.
Very.
And it's not just for you. Sometimes, I mean, yes, you number one, but the people around you.
Right.
Right.
For this young lady, if you should happen to have another child in the future, what can you offer that child if you have not dealt with the child you lost?
No, that you lost already. Right.
You need to be whole for your future. Whatever greatness is coming in your future, You need to be whole for that.
Right.
And so I'm not saying forget what happened to you, forget what you've gone through. That's a testimony. And there are people watching. Someone has gone through either some of what you going through, all of what you going through, or they gonna eventually go through it.
Right.
And so you're not alone. Some of these people who are watching are seeing that they are not alone,
Right.
but you have to deal. You cannot, I mean, you can numb it for only so long. And sometimes that will kill you.
It will.
You numb and numb and numb and numbing because you never dealt. And sometimes you become spiritually dead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're dead on the inside.
And I
And
had
so,
to learn to actually, like you said, stop numbing and, like you said, deal with it head on. Because when I lost my baby, I didn't deal with it. When I lost his dad, I didn't deal with it. When I lost my other relatives I didn't deal with it. Then when I lost my mom, that's when I'm like, you know what? You done lost all these people. You ain't grieved that person. You numbed everything so that you could just pick up the pieces and go. Because you didn't want to
and
deal with it head on.
when you suffer with loss after loss after loss, and you don't deal with each one as they come, all you doing is piling it on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you got a mountain,
eventually you're going to explode. And
right?
it's going to be worse than it would have been just dealing
We
with
dealt
those
with.
bills as they come. And once
Right.
you pile it up and pile it up and pile it up, it gets worse. I know. I
A
witnessed
mountain of grief.
a mountain of grief, and you're like, like you haven't dealt with it. You need to deal with it. And I'm just like, I can't deal with it. Like it's like once I try and deal with this one died. I try to deal with this one died. And it's just like everything just kept piling, and I never was dealing with it. I'm like, fuck. Like I feel like I'm about to die. I feel like I'm
I
about to die because I
I
haven't dealt with it.
encourage I encourage my clients to visit happy places. Do things that are colorful.
Right.
Surround yourself with color and joy. Personally, I am a music lover. I love music, all types of music, whether it's on the radio. I love live music. I love concerts. I love the arts and crafts. Um, Surround yourself with beauty.
Right.
Hopefully, that will drag you out of a blue feeling or a funk. Go
Mm-hmm.
if you have to be around kids, because kids, they're so innocent, they're so playful,
Mm-hmm.
they're so forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Is just something about children, especially small children.
Children. Right.
They live in their best life and they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to
Absolutely.
be around that playfulness and that happiness that children bring, just I understand and I respect when a person says that they are depressed, and even if they haven't even been properly diagnosed, they know they feeling sad all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How do I get from this place? How did I even get in this place?
Right.
It's not impossible to come out of it, but you
It's
have
not.
to want to
You
come
have.
out.
You have to want to come out of it. You
You
have to
do.
want to come out of it.
And coming out of it is doing stuff. The way that I came out of depression, I started doing stuff that made me happy. I
Yep.
started putting myself first. I had to start becoming selfish because I was so giving, and so I'm talking to the point where if I'm out shopping and say if okay, say if I'm out shopping, right, if my daughter wanted some Jordans, okay, well I'm just gonna put my Jordans back. Well, bitch, no Jordans to do this week, and because that's what she wants. You know what I'm saying? That's what she
Right.
needs. Even if she don't deserve it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can get some Vans. Now what my
Right.
fan is.
But see, that's what
You know what I'm saying?
that's what a lot of people mess up in, and it's
Yeah.
not. I don't even call it selfish. It's self-care.
It is self-care.
You have to care about you. You're no good to your children
If you
if
ain't no,
If you're not good to yourself.
that's so true.
and so you do have to do something that makes you happy, at least sometimes.
Sometimes.
We
Traveling,
are the children.
traveling makes me happy. Get on the that's the make me the most. I get a high from packing my shit and knowing that I'm gonna go get on the plane and get the fuck on. They just don't period. I be high like I done smoked some crack. I be ready to go. And it gives me joy to know that I'm gonna wake up in a new place. I'm gonna see some stuff I ain't never seen before. I'm in a new environment. It excites me to experience different things, try different foods I ain't never tried. That gives me joy. So you'll see me often. Wheels up in a few days, and in a few days again, I come back from there. You see what I'm saying? Because
Right.
that I didn't travel like I should have. When I did travel, it was for work to make money to take back home to my family. You know what I'm saying? To take care of my
You
kids.
have to do stuff for pleasure now.
And now I'm girl. I be getting out of here. Gone. Bye.
And sometimes it's if you have to do it alone,
If you have to do it alone, do it.
do it.
Do it.
Go.
Just
And you know what I
that
found?
post.
You know what I found if so I have a homegirl, right? And she was depressed like I was. So what she started doing was she would just buy a plane ticket to anywhere. She whatever she decided, she even if it's to a trip 2 months out, she was like, if I buy and I buy it on one of these websites, these people ain't gonna give me my goddamn money back if I don't go straight
So
to
I got to go.
so I gotta go. And like every couple months, she just buy a ticket. You know, she just decide where she want to go. She just buy a ticket and shit, she go. She like, that's why I go. She said, because I bought a ticket and I ain't gonna waste my goddamn money. So it makes her go. And when she gets there, she howling because she's happy and she's doing this. And God, let me tell you what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Because she's taking care of herself. But she's so selfless, she got to go ahead on about her ticket and make sure she go because she'll get out of money for damn children and grandchildren. You know?
I shared this post to my page.
What
I'm
is
gonna
it?
put it up to my camera. Can y'all see it?
Put it over there. Okay, stop
Okay.
canceling the trips because your friends can't go. Leave they broke ass. Period. Or get you a friend that got your motherfucking back. You know what I'm saying? One other. But yeah, I ain't canceling no trips. I don't give a damn if you got to save and put your shit in the piggy bank. Put it in there. But look, I've been trying to get like I've been trying to do like a girl trip, right? It never seems to pan out, right? Because I just see like if I put a post and I say I want to go here, so many people hit the post, right? So I'm gonna plan a girls trip where whoever want to go, we can go and we can have a good time and we can unwind. And I want to make that like an annual thing. You know what I'm saying? I want to make it an annual thing where moms and people that work all the time and you
Right.
don't you always responsible for somebody. We go somewhere for a week once a year and we ain't got no kids. And you know, and if
Girl in the loop.
the liquor right, you might not have no husband. You see what I'm saying? When you get over there, it's just like a kid.
Share the link.
Right.
I was laid off during this pandemic. I saved a couple coins. So the Alabama Department of Labor was good to me.
But
All these people buying TVs. I saved for some trips.
yeah,
You buy a TV, I buy a plane ticket. How about that?
period.
Okay.
Period.
Exactly.
And that's a good thing. Like especially like even like when I used to stay in Mobile, it was so small and you seen the same people so much. It ain't give me no joy to be there. You know what I'm saying? So leaving and moving to a different place because when you travel, every city has a different energy. It has a different heartbeat. When you land in California, it feels different. When you go to Mexico, it's a whole different vibe from California. When I go to Cleveland or go, to Alabama or Atlanta, the city, the energy of the city is different. And sometimes you need a different energy
So when you come to Alabama, do you feel depressed instantly?
If I was coming there to live.
Oh,
You know,
because
that's because
you come here to visit. That
I'm
helps.
good with business. If I had like when I had moved back for a week, because you know I had moved back for a week last year. I had moved back. I sold all my shit out here in Vegas. I had moved back. I was like, I'm gonna go help my mama with her business. I had sold all my shit, and we just packed up and drove all the way to goddamn Alabama. When I got in the city, because in Vegas the streets are so wide. You know what I'm saying? So wide. A car, you know, a motorcycle and a car were driving the same lane. That's how wide a lot of the streets are. So when I pulled up in Alabama, the streets just what they just did like this right here. I immediately knew then. This might not
This ain't
last.
gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. And another reason why I left home, because leaving home forced me to grow. Getting away from everything I love, getting away from any crutch that I could possibly have, and throwing myself out here in Vegas, that's what threw me out of my depression. It made me start, and when my husband cheated, I said, you know what, I got to fuck this nigga in the bullshit that he on. I'm finna start loving on me, living for me. I'm finna start doing some stuff that I want to be. I've been wanting to be a talk show host for goddamn 10 years because all I do is motherfucking talk. How about I revisit that dream? A lot of people say, girl, you can't be no talk show host. I'm gonna show you I'm gonna be a talk show host, and you gonna believe it. You gonna start seeing me as a talk show host. And that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did. And like this right here, this bring me all the joy and the happiness in the world. Because my platform was originally my platform for me to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do and for me to blow myself up. You know what I'm saying? But then my platform became something, I feel like God took my platform. I feel like he took my platform and said, I'm going to give you one night, so it's on Saturday. The rest of the days, the shit is not about you no more. It was about you, at least you thought it was about you. But once you drew people in, it ain't about you no more. It's about other people and what the fuck they go through. And getting on here talking to people every day about real shit. I'm in my happy place right now. This shit giving me so much joy. When I get off here, I'm gonna go back and cry and laugh, and I'm gonna be proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't wait for nobody else to tell me they proud of me. I don't need it. I don't need your validation. I don't need nobody to say, well, you feel like me. I be talking to cousins and cousins to be like, well, you know, when you get rich. I said, when I get, babe, I'm already rich. You don't see, I look like a rich black woman right now. Bald head.
Speaking into existence.
I'm already living in that. My mentality is totally. I don't give a fuck if I'm in an apartment. When I walk up in this bitch, it's cute and pink, and I'm in my little bar house, as they call. This my little mansion. I don't see myself in my apartment. This is just a stop on my journey to where the fuck I'm really going. That's just how I live. That's how I think. I don't, and that's why, you know, I think my mom used to feel like kind of like I was in a fantasy world. Like, you need to go get a job. Why you want to take up coding? You know, because she in the medical field. Why you want to take up? Because I'm a talk show host and I'm a superstar, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why. You know, that's why. You know what I'm saying? That's why. That's why I don't want to be at nobody's job. I want to make my own way. I want to make my own platform, and then I can help my own people. I can go back and pull my own people up. I go get my friend the Kendra. I do Thursday. The Kendra want to do what it is that I do. So my way of helping my friend is come on Thursday. You get your feet wet. You get really comfortable in front of this camera. You know what I'm saying? You see how this shit works, and when you go out on your own, you know what I'm saying? You prepare because you got a friend that went first. You know what I'm saying? So I can show you how to do this shit and the proper way to do it. So that's what gives me joy. That's what this is my joy. This is my happy place. Singing and this shit right here. Besides what also gives you the taboo shit, not taboo, but the cliche shit. My children, my life, my husband. That's okay. That you gotta handle that anyway. But what brings me joy? What makes me happy? What makes me get up and goddamn put this fucking makeup on every day for an hour and I do my good shit and I'm gonna go scrub and right the fuck back out. I don't care because this is what I love to do. I love coming on here talking to a Caitlin, you know what I'm saying, and getting inside your head and learning from you and educating myself from what you've been through. I get joy out of that. So This Toya, you right. You rich as you fit. I'm telling y'all, I'm a whole goddamn billionaire walking around here just watch. Y'all gonna sit there, y'all gonna say that bald head ass bitch was talking that shit and clacking that fan, and she got rich off of it. I told Candice this. I told Candice probably about a year or two ago. I hear her from I don't know how we got on the conversation, but she said, Niche, you know you showing up showing out today or something. This when I had 10 motherfuckers on live and probably 50 views for the week. You know what I'm saying? And I told her, I said, watch me work. I said, watch me work. I said, watch me sit here and be my own fucking self. I'm not gonna change who I am to make nobody else comfortable. Y'all gonna have to get comfortable with me. I said, and watch me do this, and I'm gonna show you where I'll be in a year. I'm working with Tank. I'm writing. I'm ghostwriting. I'm doing all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody can't tell me that I can't do it. And another thing, it feeds me when somebody tell me that I can't do shit. I said I can't do it. Let me show you, bitch.
Right.
For the show. Yeah, it drives me. So,
well, I'm proud of you. I know you don't need it.
I am too.
Thank you, cuz. Thank you, cuz.
You're welcome, cuz.
Thank you. You know, this is who I am. I'll be in front of the billionaire telling me something. God, what you say? For real.
I find it interesting that I'm up the country and I find out from you what's going on up the country.
Yeah. Like, she all the way out there. And we all the way here in Alabama. And this bitch know everything that's going on.
And you know, it'd be so funny because people are some, well, where the fuck that? You ain't know.
I'm right here in the area. And I don't know nothing about this going on.
So, viewers, I'm from up the country.
Hello.
Where all the shit goes down.
Where all the shit goes down.
Right.
I'm like, then I have to text people to see. I'm like, this such and such, and they were like, yeah. So what happened here from Vegas?
Who told Nettie? How Nettie know? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But I'm gonna tell you, cause I know. So
it'd be accurate. It'd be accurate.
It's gonna be accurate. Yeah. You know what? It be accurate. So
what you say? 100% allegedly.
1000% allegedly motherfucking true. And y'all that be mad at me because I be telling y'all business, talk to your people, bitch. Talk to your people. Talk to your aunties and your sisters and your cousins and shit that you owe money to and you ain't never paid it and you act like your ass don't know that you owe. They got mad and told on you, bitch. Here. So stop being mad at me. But do y'all have any parting words that you would like to say? Caitlin, you first. Anything that you would like to say, or any,
whatever you going through, whether it's grief, you depressed, whatever you going through, talk about it. Please talk about it. Please don't hold it in. Whatever you do, talk about it. Whatever you do, talk about it. I don't care if you write about it. If you have to write it in a journal, it helps. It's therapeutic. I write.
Right.
I talk about it. I just told Keandra the other day. I don't know why God kept waking me. I was literally waking up every night at 2:00, 3:00, every night, and I'm like, why I keep getting up at this time of the morning? I know I gotta go to work. I know I gotta be there at 7:30. I know I do. Why am I up this time of the morning? And I had to sit back and realize, like, okay, God wake you up for you to talk to him, listen to him. Those are your listening hours. If you, whatever you going through and you waking up like that, talk to him, listen to him. Those are your hours to listen. And I had to listen to him. I had to listen, and I talked to my mama then. I talked to him. Those are my hours to talk to my mama. And I started realizing, okay, baby, you here for a reason. Whether it's to get somebody through the same thing you going through or whatever it is, you here for a reason.
Right.
And you need to start walking in that truth, walking in that purpose. Start serving your purpose for what you are on this earth for.
And your purpose is, And your purpose is whatever you decide your purpose is. People feel like that in order to have a purpose, God got to come down and tell you what your purpose is. No, you know what you've been through. You know to walk what you walk. Decide what it is you want to contribute to the world and just do it. Period. That's your purpose.
Right.
You find your own purpose. Don't nobody need to come down here and give you no purpose. Life's gonna give you a purpose.
Life is going to give you a purpose. The things you go through is your purpose, so you can get somebody else through it.
Yeah. Like when I told you about coming out here, I was like, I'm glad that you're strong enough to come on here, but you ain't really coming on here for yourself. You kind of think you are, but you really coming on here for somebody else. That we heal each other through telling our stories. You heal somebody else from telling your story. When I told the story about being molested and shit, my inbox blew up like I ain't never seen my inbox blow up. From so many people saying, thank you for just saying the shit how it needs to be said. Because I'm not brave enough to say it. So when you was up there and you was going off, I felt like I was saying what the fuck I had to say. You know what I'm saying? So it's never for you. It's always speaking and telling somebody about what you're going through or utilizing the platform. It's always for another person, and you feel good about it. Because let me tell you what's gonna happen. Somebody gonna hit your inbox up. It's gonna be hitting your inbox up. They're gonna say, Caitlin, you really blessed me. Kate, I just really felt where you coming from. They're gonna encourage you. They're gonna give you words of encouragement. They got mamas been dead for 30 years. They're gonna tell you how to go day by day. What it is. That's where you gonna get your reward from and your good feeling from. And everybody else get to heal from watching you be in pain. It's just the way it is. I mean, it's just they're gonna heal from your pain. It just what it is. So, LaCosta, what would you like to say before we close out?
To anyone who is suffering with depression, know that you are not alone. Get the help you need. You are not crazy for seeing a clinician. You're crazy if you don't.
Right.
And so, according to this DSM, it's a little something wrong with everybody. So even if depression is you're fine in that area, you may have some other stuff going on. Get you some help. It's okay. There are more Black people in the Black community. We are doing so much better. Seeing about our mental health. I am so proud of that. I applaud those people from the Black community who are stepping up and finally admitting that something is not right.
Little tick room going on.
And so I'm very proud of that. I hope we can keep that going. Hopefully we can heal ourselves, we can heal our families, and we can walk in our wholeness. If you are broken, know that you can be rebuilt.
Right.
And it doesn't have to take medication all the time. A lot of times, no medication is needed whatsoever. Personally, I journal. I have several journals. I think I'm almost at 400. And my journal good, y'all. I might need to get it published. It's good stuff up in there.
You got up in there so I can see what you've been doing in the dark.
Well, come on in the light.
Come on in the light, girl.
Ooh, I got some juicy stuff in my journal.
Jesus.
I have to lock them up. But journaling is therapeutic. Let it out. Let it out. But if you choose to let it out in a safe place.
Right.
Let it out somewhere safe. If you need another body there, another person there, you share these things with someone you absolutely trust with your life. You know that this person will not judge you. This person, whether you're there in your absence, this person still has your back when you are not present.
Right.
Let it out. If you don't, it can and it will ruin you.
It will.
Do not drown yourself in drugs and alcohol or any other forms of numbing the pain. Deal with your pain head
Let me
on.
ask you a question, because I want to ask you this question before we get out of here. Do you think that if you do a substance all the time, or if you drink or smoke or do anything out of boredom, right, or because you just lonely or don't have nothing else to do, is that a form of depression, or are you just bored? Because what is it?
It can be a little bit of both. Some people use because they're depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Some people use simply because they're bored.
Okay.
And so boredom is just that. You bored. It doesn't have to have anything underlying it.
Right.
And some of them, that's just their thing. That's just what they do. They're not bored. They're not depressed. They just what they do. Yeah.
Okay. Right. This has brought us to the end of our show. Next week we'll be come back. I'll be in your inbox on some Lacosta with a whole.
Come on in.
So I want to do a series on like different types of depression. Like she's dealing with grief, and she got depressed because of grief. Like next week I'll be talking to a soldier, and her depression is stemming from being raped in the military, and it's all kind of it's deep. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna need you on here again. So I'm gonna need you on here again, Fat. So
let me know, Ned.
Period. So look, she made me sick. And you know what? Fat be slipping out when I want to be professional and say Lacosta. And I'm so used to saying Fat, so I have to think about it. And Fat just said she just got to let everybody know to call me Ned.
Or Flying Jenny.
Oh, you tried. You tried. You tried. But anyway, she
you get your shame.
But to be honest, tell out my business. I just want to say, I thank everybody for coming on in. I thank y'all for joining us, and I think Caitlin, thank you so much for being so transparent, because you just can heal people that you don't even know. They're gonna tell you about it. They'll be on your box.
Yes, they will.
As always, thank you so much for coming on here. Because you don't hesitate. You got shit to do. You be like, look, I got shit to do, but I'm coming. I appreciate that, and I'm blessed to be able to just call my cousin, because she's certified, qualified, and educated to do this type of shit. I ain't got to go nowhere else if I don't want to go. So I just thank everybody for joining us today. I thank y'all for coming on here. I thank everybody for the comments and the love in the comments, and for also being so transparent in the comments. And as usual, y'all know I love y'all, and I love everybody that love me, and I fucks with everybody that fuck with me. And if you don't, then fuck you got your ass on here for. We trying to hell. So I love